Welcome to the Office of Volunteer Resources Annual Recognition Day and the renaming of the Volunteer Recognition Garden. But this afternoon will be one of inspiration as we celebrate and honor the special individuals and groups who have dedicated their time, their passion, their hearts, their energy to people and worthwhile services for our community. And as you are introduced to them, you will understand why the selection committee chose to honor these remarkable individuals. One such group is the Department of Emergency Medical Services, which has consistently led the way with a total value of service worth over $9 million a year, just in volunteer hours. And we're proud today to have some of the EMS volunteers here with us today. So if you would all please join me in standing for the presentation of the colors by the Virginia Beach Volunteer Rescue Squad Honor Guard, and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ready? Two.
This afternoon, we are so honored to have Father James Park, volunteer chairman of the Virginia Beach Human Rights Commission, and a personal friend to the Office of Volunteer Resources and the entire Russo family, and I would say probably to the entire city. Reverend Park will now deliver the invocation.
Indeed, it is an honor for me to lead us in a moment of prayer and thanks be to God for the gift that Mary Russo has been and will continue to be for us, especially as we rename the garden this day. And so, Lord, we gather on this day filled with rain and blessing to give thanks for a gift, for a very special woman, for a dedicated believer, for a caring, devoted wife, mother, grandmother, and citizen. We celebrate, Lord, such a rich legacy that will continue to make Virginia Beach the very unique center of volunteerism in our whole United States. Lord, we thank you for the belief that she had and professed in so many ways in what every person can do to build not just Virginia Beach, but the very city of God. Lord, once again, we commend her to your hands, and we thank you. We will miss her. What a difference she has made. And Lord, as we bless this garden in her memory and spirit, may it be a symbol of how loving volunteers indeed grow a very beautiful coastal city. Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Park. You all be seated, please. I've got to put my hat on for a little while longer. I'd like to extend a special welcome to my fellow council members who are here, and if I leave you out, I apologize. Just wave your hand. I saw Rosemary Wilson, Lewis Jones, Barbara Henley, Bob Dyer, and Shannon Kane. Anybody that I left out? I'll mention the mayor later. We have our, obviously, the mayor of the greatest city in the world here to speak a little bit later about some other things. We're also honored to have Delegate Bill DeSteff. Had a little flashback from when you used to sit over here. Who's here with us today from Richmond? Judge Randy Blow and former Mayor Clancy Holland. In addition, we have our city manager Jim Spoor, who is here, along with our city attorney Mark Stiles. I saw him coming in the back. The city clerk, and of course a longtime friend of Ms. Mary Russo, Ruth Frazier. Deputy City Managers Cindy Curtis and Dave Hansen are here. We have a number of constitutional officers, department directors, numerous staff and volunteers representing each city department, and I really can't go through the list of everybody who's here because that would take up the rest of the afternoon. But also, and most importantly, is we have very close friends and family of Mary Russo. I saw Mary Riley and her husband, Morgan, Mary's daughter, her son, Phil, and his wife, Jane, and well, it says Sarah and Ben. I see Ben, I don't see Sarah, okay. And obviously, Cecilia Caligari-Gearloff, Mary's sister, brother-in-law Gus Russo, as well as many cousins, nieces, and nephews present today. Watching from live streaming video of today's events, in theory, if they're all studying or if they're not studying and doing what they're supposed to do and they're actually watching the computer today, are Mary's grandchildren, John Philip, Eli, Ezra, and Andrew, and as well as Mary's daughter, Leanne Russo, and her husband, Kevin. So we also have many friends of Mary's from Atlantic Shores, and I would be remiss if I did not mention my own mother when I made the mistake today of asking her if she was coming today. And that was not a good thing. So I learned my lesson on that one. So as you know, we lost Mary just a few weeks ago, and this is difficult for me because I've done a number of these volunteer recognition events, and what would it be if it didn't get rained out, because that seems to happen every year. But there are a lot of us that have family members that really aren't family members, and I would say Aunt Mary was one of them for me for many years, even back when I wore a different version of this hat. She would call me on the phone many times and say, "Jim, this is Aunt Mary," and then she would, whether it was about family or city business or anything like that, and frankly, it was years before my kids realized she wasn't really their aunt, because she actually remembered them on special occasions and things like that. She would also tell me that gentlemen don't wear a hat inside, so I'm gonna do that for right now. But she was a true center of our great city, in my opinion, and she was passionate about volunteers and was never shy to tell me exactly when she felt the volunteers were getting the short end of the stick. She had a list of departments that didn't use volunteers when I was first elected in 2002. And that I'm happy to say now that every single department on that list has or currently uses volunteers. When Jim Spoor made the wise decision to promote Parks and Rec Director Cindy Curtis to Deputy City Manager, I made it a point to seek out Cindy and tell her that since I knew the Office of Volunteer Resources was part of her domain, that a measure of her success, in my opinion, would be forging a strong alliance with Mary Russo and Mary's office. And Mary told me many times how much she enjoyed working with Cindy. And for those of you who have been on the receiving end of Mary telling you to report your hours effectively, I can personally attest to the fact that I was given strict instructions to make sure that my wife, who's a volunteer paramedic, included all of her hours, because according to Mary, she never did. And every time we would see Mary socially or for any other event, she would give my wife a great big hug, tell her how proud she was of her, and then tell her, "Don't forget to report all your hours." So, you know, when I come to council on Tuesdays, I walk down this hallway from the parking lot, and I look in the glass doors of the Volunteer Resource Office, and I'm always half expecting to see her there, and regretting the times that when she was there, I was too busy and I just walked by. You know, we'll all miss her, but she does leave a great legacy. The Office of Volunteer Resources exists to lead and support city government and department volunteer efforts and to promote volunteerism within the community. Under Mary's leadership, they have done just that. And this past fiscal year, city departments and state agencies had more than 20,000 volunteers giving more than 1.4 million hours of their time. You need to let that sink in for a minute. 20,000 volunteers in our city, 1.4 million hours. And we need to take a moment to recognize the many volunteer resource managers and volunteers in attendance today. If we could applaud all of them. I'd also like to note that former Councilman Glenn Davis, who is now Delegate Davis, who I could make a similar mistake like I did with Delegate DeSteff, is here joining us today. And thank you, Glenn, for coming. Right now, I'd like to recognize the 20-year volunteers. It's my distinct pleasure to recognize 4 individuals who have dedicated 20 years in the city of Virginia Beach volunteer programs. And do you have one? Okay. And Mayor, if you can come up and help us with this. So we'll start off with Jan James of Emergency Medical Services. Then we have Mick Nicholsburg of Virginia Aquarium, and accepting this on behalf of his 20-year volunteer, Mick Nicholsburg, is Mick's volunteer resource manager, Sean Reed. From the Department of EMS, we have Frank Michaels and Michael Rogers, and accepting this on their behalf is Jerry Autono from the Department of EMS. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our Deborah L. Elam Youth Award winners. This award is given each year to one group and one individual with outstanding achievement in volunteerism by demonstrating positive community involvement, enhancing the quality of life in our community, and modeling a spirit of caring and teamwork in all that they do. Founded on September 11th of 2012, the Virginia Beach Fire Department Explorer Post 343 learns firefighting techniques, life-saving skills, discipline, personal accountability, and teamwork. This all-volunteer program prepares young people to operate throughout the fire community. The Explorers have all graduated from the Virginia Beach Community Emergency Response Team program. This past year, the group has given approximately 1,500 hours of service, including bi-monthly training, supporting the Virginia State Fire Chiefs Association Conference, and assisting the Virginia Beach Fire Department's Volunteer Honor Guards fundraising efforts. This group is continually participating in all advanced rescue training, volunteering for community education events, and participating in fire service related projects to build a strong foundation for the future of the fire service in our community. Please join me in honoring this year's recipients of the Deborah L. Elam Outstanding Youth Volunteer Group Award to the Virginia Beach Fire Department Explorer Post 343. And I would point out that this plaque is going to be hung in Building 19 with the award winners' names on it. So this is a nice commemoration of that. So next up is a young woman who unanimously blew the selection committee away with her dedication to community engagement, advocacy for the prevention of drug abuse and bullying, and positive peer leadership, both here in Virginia Beach and regionally across Hampton Roads. Joanna Tan has served as the chair of numerous committees and was a two-term president for the Mayor's Youth Leaders in Action, or MYLA, throughout her 4 years at Tallwood High School. She has volunteered more than 1,000 hours of her time, all while maintaining above a 4.3 GPA, which is about double what my GPA was. As a student liaison to the Parks and Recreation Commission, this young woman was called one of the most instrumental youth leaders Department Director Michael Calvert had encountered in his tenure. The coordinator of the Youth Opportunities Office coordinator said, "There is no finer representation of Virginia Beach youth than Joanna Tan." Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in recognizing our Deborah L. Elam Outstanding Youth Volunteer Award winner, Miss Joanna Tan. At this time, I'd like to invite City Manager Jim Spohr up to make his presentation.
Thank you, Jim. Good afternoon, everybody. Isn't this a beautiful garden? If you haven't been over to the garden recently, it really is spectacular. It meant a lot to Mary. So it's too bad we couldn't be there this afternoon, but we're glad that we're inside here. It's my honor to present the Volunteer Resource Manager of the Year Award. And as many of you know, this award has been a cornerstone in the annual Office of Volunteer Resources Recognition Day for many, many years. Mary would always refer to her VRMs as the backbone of our program and the unsung heroes of the city of Virginia Beach, and that's absolutely the truth. We have 120 individuals who take on the role of volunteer resource manager as an added responsibility to their normal work assignments in all of our departments and many in our partnering state agencies, so we're very proud of them. When the volunteer program or Mary Russo would receive an award or an accolade or some kind of recognition, Mary would always remind us that the people that were really responsible for that strong foundation were our volunteer resource managers and the VRM program. So it is for this reason that from this day forward, the Volunteer Resource Manager of the Year Award will be given in the memory of Mary C. Russo, and a plaque with the previous year's winners and those who will come along in the future will proudly hang here at the Municipal Center. So now let me tell you a little bit about this year's winner. Customer service is a critical factor for success in this Volunteer Resource Managers program. A friendly and approachable nature supported by detailed knowledge and skills makes this individual a truly outstanding asset to our organization. Her leadership knows that volunteers play a key role in the many of the department's achievements. A recipient ensures the continuity of all services provided by volunteers within the department, always making sure that the volunteers feel appreciated for their efforts, whether large or small. With 7 years of leadership, this nominee conducts business with an upbeat demeanor and a can-do attitude. Her nominee has the ability to link her role and the role of the department's volunteer program to the overall department strategic plan and the city's vision of being a community for a lifetime. Get this one. Since this person became the department's volunteer resource manager, their volunteer base has grown from 163 volunteers in 2008 to more than 550 volunteers at the end of 2013. Integrity is a high priority within the department, and this year's nominee sets an example for others to follow. Being honest, compassionate, and caring allows this individual to always be fair and inclusive. This person is dedicated to providing high-quality service to the department leadership, co-workers, and volunteers alike. Mentoring is one of the individual's greatest attributes. The nominee has attended a variety of both volunteer-related and organization-wide trainings in an effort to build upon her already strong foundation of continued learning. It is a priority of the nominee to not only obtain knowledge, but to commit to communicate the newly learned skills to those working alongside of her. This nominee works closely with other city agencies and VRMs to coordinate and assist in the collaborative endeavors ensuring multiple positive outcomes for the organization. In his nomination, Deputy Police Chief Tony Zuccaro said, quote, "While always keeping the city's best interests at heart in any discussion, Michelle Ferranti is highly deserving of this prestigious honor and truly characterizes the meaning of what this award embodies." So it is with great pleasure at this time to have Michelle Ferranti to come forward and receive her recognition.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Cindy Curtis, Deputy City Manager, and it is now my pleasure to introduce a few other individuals that are also deserving of some recognition. As Jim just mentioned, the Volunteer Resource Manager of the Year Award meant everything to Mary Russo. She truly understood that the VRMs were the glue that held the program together. Our volunteers are extraordinarily valuable to us, and they have a huge impact on our community. But without some guidance and leadership and assistance provided by the VRMs, their services might not be as well delivered or as warmly accepted. Our VRMs are the individuals who make a difference. This year we had 7 well-deserving nominees for the coveted award that was just provided. And I would like to just take a moment to recognize the 6 others who were nominated. When I call your name, would you please stand and remain standing and hold your applause, if you don't mind, until I announce the 6th and final recognee. First, Jerry Autumno with the Department of Emergency Medical Services. Ellen Burgess with the Department of Public Health. Toby Caraway with the Department of Public Works Engineering Division. Susan Francisco of the Princess Anne Library. Suzanne Jeffers of the Kempsville Library, and John Myher with the Department of Public Works Waste Management Division. Please join me in recognizing all of these other people. I wanted to make sure that you knew that the hard work that you put in each and every day in working with your volunteers was recognized. This was an extraordinarily competitive year, and the selection committee struggled mightily to select one candidate. All 7 of you deserve special recognition, and we appreciate you and your ongoing efforts. Now, how do you recognize the more than 60 volunteer resource managers that have either been certified this year or were recertified this year? Not easily in a space of this size. So, what I want you to know is that I'm going to ask all of you if you would now rise to recognize yourselves so we may clap and applaud for the incredible work that you do that continues to make our city be the greatest city in the world. Would all volunteer resource managers in attendance please rise? Each one of these individuals undertook either for the first time a rigid training program to be certified as a volunteer resource manager or became recertified. And all of you all who know Mary Russo and loved her for so many years knows that she did not take training lightly. You were expected to attend, participate, learn, and then share that learning. So these gentlemen and ladies did just that, under rather rigorous and sometimes strenuous conditions. This is on top, as Mr. Wood said, is on top of their normal job duties. They do this for a variety of reasons. Number 1, because they believe in this city and the community that we serve. Number 2, because they truly understand that volunteers bring our community into government, thereby making government better. And number 3, because they're committed to service delivery. And that certainly was evident in our award winner today. We want to be the best that we can be in serving our citizens and the tourists who are fortunate enough to visit us. These VRMs help ensure that we remain the greatest city in the world. And for that, each and every one of us thank you for the time you take out of your already very busy schedules to make sure that this program is one that is recognized not just in the United States but across the world for its excellence. And so instead of pulling you up now, because it will take a little while for Craig and others to get you set up, I would ask that at the end of this ceremony, prior to enjoying all the treats outside, sorry to do it to you, would you please come forward so that we could recognize you with a group photograph? We appreciate you very much.
And I'll tell you, that should make you feel really good about living in Virginia Beach, which is the greatest city in the world, when we have more than 60 volunteer resource coordinators in the city. I don't think you could find another city anywhere that has that level of involvement on the department level as well as throughout the community. It's now my pleasure to introduce Mayor Will Sessoms, who has a special resolution.
Well, good afternoon. And it really is my sincere pleasure to be here today. Volunteers are the lifeblood of our community and help make Virginia Beach be the greatest city in the world. One more time, the greatest city in the world. It's because of what you all do. You know, I cannot begin to tell you how grateful I am that people are willing to give their time and talents to services to others. We know that we could not do business as usual without each and every one of you. You fill in the gaps, and your diligent work cannot be overstated. We were blessed to have Mary Russo heading up our volunteer program at City Hall. Mary logged more than 45 years as a volunteer with the city of Virginia Beach. She really set the tone for volunteering and has encouraged it throughout the city, so that now we have more than 30 city departments and agencies with volunteer programs. These programs stretch city dollars, assets, and services for the benefit of our Virginia Beach citizens. Before I read the City Council resolution, I would like to just say a few things about Mary, in that over the years, I had some one-on-one time with Mary. And we all know she was just a very spectacular lady. But more than anything, she told me how much she loved her family continually. She also had a great faith. She loved the city of Virginia Beach. She truly loved it, and how blessed we were for her to have that love for it. And the fourth thing is that whenever we would be at a reception or something, and I might be heading up to the bar, I said, "Mary, would you like a martini?" She said, "That would be so nice." And I had the pleasure of delivering her a few martinis over the years. Now it is my honor to read this resolution. Whereas Mary C. Russo has served 46 years as a volunteer with the City of Virginia Beach, including City Council appointed chair and founding director of the City of Virginia Beach Office of Volunteer Resources. Whereas Mary Russo was appointed by past governors Holton and Godwin to the Drug Advisory Council, as well as the Education and Grant Review Committees. Whereas Mary Russo founded local programs, First Steps, Virginia Beach Citizen Corps, and the Virginia Beach Volunteer Council. Whereas Mary Russo served as the chair of various state and local initiatives, including the United Drug Abuse Council, Virginia Beach Drug Focus Committee, Community Services Board, the Francis Land House Board of Governors, the Mayor's Committee on Aging, Citizens Advisory Committee to the President of Virginia Wesleyan College, the Advisory Board of the Virginia Beach Vocational Technical School, Centera Bayside Hospital Ethics Committee, Project Link Implementing Committee for Perinatal Substance Abuse Prevention, United Way Agency, Virginia Beach YWCA, Pendleton Child Service Center, United Way Family Center, Virginia Federation of Women's Clubs, Virginia Correctional Facilities Statewide Volunteer Task Force, Tidewater Women's Club, Virginia Beach Safety Council, Virginia Beach City Public Schools Council on Drug Abuse, Virginia Beach Interfaith Committee, Virginia Beach Crime Prevention Steering Committee, and many more. Whereas Mary Russo's contribution to her community have been recognized through numerous awards: First Citizen of Virginia Beach, Knights of Columbus Layman Award, B'nai B'rith Salute to Women, Virginia Council of Social Welfare Outstanding Citizenship, Virginia Beach Bar Association First Liberty Bell Award, City of Virginia Beach City Managers Award, Cox Cable Great Citizens of Tidewater, Sons of Italy Outstanding Community Volunteer, Princess Anne Rotary Club Outstanding Citizen Award, Virginia Beach City Peer Award, Southeastern Virginia Notre Dame Club Outstanding Community Volunteer, Virginia Beach Rotary Club Outstanding Volunteer, American Legion Community Servant of the Year, Wavy 10 Who Care Award, Volunteer Hampton Roads Achievement Award, Japan Education Cultural Center International Service Award, Honorary Deputy Sheriff of Virginia Beach. God bless her. And the Hampton Roads Chamber of Commerce Virginia Beach Volunteer Leadership Award. Whereas Mary Russo has generously and tirelessly worked to recognize all who give their most precious gift, their time, by volunteering in all aspects of local government. Whereas the Volunteer Recognition Garden at the Municipal Center was created in 1998 as a project of the Volunteer Council to honor past and present volunteers who gave and continue to give their time and talents to make Virginia Beach the greatest city in the world. The Volunteer Recognition Garden was paid for through the generosity of private citizens and businesses. The garden is tended year-round by municipal employees as a symbol of unity between the city and volunteers. Whereas naming the garden for Mary C. Russo recognizes her contributions to the city over many decades and will highlight her unfaltering dedication to the recognition of volunteers and ensuring Virginia Beach is, and I quote, a community for a lifetime. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the City of Virginia Beach, Virginia, that the Volunteer Recognition Garden at the Municipal Center is hereby renamed and shall henceforth be known as the Mary C. Russo Volunteer Recognition Garden. And that is signed on behalf of all the members of the Virginia Beach City Council. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I'd like to thank our speakers today, Mayor Will Sessoms, City Manager Jim Spoor, Deputy City Manager Cindy Curtis, and of course our special volunteers who made this program possible, Reverend Jim Park, the Virginia Beach Volunteer Rescue Squad Honor Guard, Johnny Johnson and Annika Jenkins, Barbara Morrison for assisting with the invitations and programs, the 311 staff for fielding questions and taking the RSVP calls and theoretically telling everybody was inside, not outside, Shannon Moore for handling the logistics of today's event, City Clerk Ruth Hodges Frazier and her office for having the resolution framed, and for the Russo family and for all of you have done in the weeks leading up to today's events. Frank Fentress and Donna Vaughn and the many members of the Parks and Rec staff for designing the new signage and taking such great care of Mary's Garden. And if you haven't had the chance, please take the time this afternoon, if it's not raining too terribly bad, to see the beautiful job that Parks and Rec did with the signage and to see the garden itself. Also, city photographer Craig McClure and Bill Casey and the many multimedia staff members not only capturing these moments for us, but making this event available to our friends near and far that were unable to attend. Of course, the Volunteer Resource Management Leadership Team and all the volunteer resource managers for their efforts today and every day, keeping the strategic plan moving forward and ensuring that Mary's legacy will continue for years and years to come. And the more than 20,000 volunteers who remind us the most valuable gift that we have is our time, and we are so grateful for our everyday heroes. Thank you to the Office of Volunteer Resources staff, Melissa Zabutis and Mary Freeman. And last, I would like to thank you all for being part of this historic event honoring Mary Russo. And we're so happy to have this special place to celebrate our volunteers and the memory of our friend Mary. So thank you all, and there is a reception outside immediately following this. Thank you.